As always, we check on the recruiting trail very quickly. Dirk Knudsen of OregonPreps.com. First of all, let's start with the game you were at, Hillsboro and Sunset, another one of those old familiar schools that haven't really met up lately with the 5A, 6A split. Colt Lyerla kind of, going on and off at the start of the season. Now he's got it cranked up, and Hillsboro taking care of business tonight with a very game Apollos team. Yeah, they did. Actually, game started with a burst. They took the ball and went upfield, actually stopped Sunset 3 and out, and then took the ball straight up the field and scored Mikey Rodriguez on a nice run. And Mikey had a big night for the Spartans. Lyerla answered back by helping stop 2 Apollo drives in that first quarter, and at the end of that first quarter, it was 21-0 on 2 great runs by Colt, both power runs over the middle. Colt scored 2 in a row, so 21-0. At the end of the first quarter. Then Colt leaves the game like he's had a few games this year. He leaves the game and stands around, no apparent injury, but I did talk to him. He pulled something in his calf muscle, which complicated things for him. With the game in hand, at that time, they just made the decision they weren't going to continue to play him. So Bruno scored to bring it. Kyler Bruno for Sunset scored on a nice pass play, 49 yards, and that made the game 21-7. The game ended up 35-14 at the end, with Hillsboro really dominating on the defensive side like they've done all year. And this Hillsboro squad went 3 quarters toe-to-toe with a tough Apollos team without their star Lyerla. So, there were some guys from ESPN there, and it sounded like the USC coaches were in the house in town watching, one of their top recruits in Lyerla, and he just wasn't able to go. But they know they've got a tougher game coming down the road. So I think he's going to be okay for next week, but strained something in his calf, Swag. But it was a good game. It was competitive. Well, and curious with USC coaches, there are a lot of rumors swirling around that Colt now leaning towards USC. Is there anything to this, or is this just one of the recruiting visits that he's making in the process? Well, this was his first big trip out of Portland, to get out there and see the big world, and there'll be others. Early this week, I got a call that somebody had talked to him at school that he was sort of saying, hey, it's a done deal. And I think that got pushed out of proportion a little bit. I did talk to him tonight. He actually was there with Brennan Scarlett last weekend, and they spent the whole time together. Both really enjoyed the trip. He's told me USC is very, very high on his list right now. So he wouldn't, he's not going to go as far to say it's a done deal. But I think you and I have talked about this. I'm sure a big part of him wants to be a Duck, stay here in Oregon and do what he can do. And there's another part of him that looks at a Brian Cushing, situation and sees that young man playing in the pros. And there's a big part of Colt that very much wants that to happen. And, that USC road is paved with guys who have won Heismans and gone on to the NFL. So it's, of course, attractive. He said he had a great time.